Good evening and welcome to Living a Graceful Life. My name is Tracy Gelb. I'm your host this evening and so excited to be interviewing my mom, Lana Gelb. And we're going to speak tonight about the carnivore food plan, which is a food plan that we discovered in June of this year. And I'm going to do a very quick background into our where we were when we found it. We were both predominantly plant-based, very little meat in our lives. I was doing juice fasts and many salads, both my mom and I. She did the juice as well. And then we discovered carnivore, and I'm going to let my mom answer a few questions. I'm just going to start with how did we discover carnivore, Lana Gelb?
Oh, Tracy Gelb. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here to talk about this wonderful subject, nourishment and nutrition. And actually, I discovered it through you, but you were discovering it before me. But then I found this unbelievable YouTube with Dr. Robert Lovekin and Ari Whitten, and then there was another one with Dr. Lovekin with Dr. Ken Berry. And these are medical doctors, all three of them. Well, Ari Whitten isn't, but the other two are. And they were talking about actually both Dr. Berry and Dr. Lovekin have written books about the lies that doctors have been telling. And Dr. Lovekin's was the first one I saw with Ari Whitten, because I'm on his email list, and it was the lies I told in medical school, and that intrigued me. So I watched it. It was a YouTube, and since then I've been watching, and Tracy too. We've been watching dozens, if not hundreds, of YouTube since, well, you before June, but me like in May, I would say. And the basic premise was, which is interesting to me, I am a holistic practitioner, so I'm all about finding the root of the problem and not doing what our sick care system does, which is just addressing the symptoms and then, feeding the symptoms with whatever protocols that are done. So what intrigued me was the fact that these doctors, and all of them, and I started watching a bunch, a fantastic neurologist, a heart surgeon, Dr. Berry, I think, is an internist, um, Dr. Sean Baker, all of them have written books. And they've all written about the shame that they have, and the guilt, and the embarrassment, and they are apologizing in all these YouTubes to all their patients in terms of what they have, um, prescribed, if you will, over the years that have made their patients sick, very sick, and made themselves sick. All of the doctors had diabetes or heart disease or whatever, and they realized it was from the food that they were eating, and that they had been doing and prescribing different things for, way before the food pyramid, the SAD diet, but the standard American diet, which is SAD. But would you like me to go on, or do you want to chime in here?
Oh, no, I think, when we were talking about, I had started keto, which is no carbs and no sugar, very low carbs and no sugar, about 3 years ago. And I had severely plateaued, but not only plateaued, some of the snacks I was having, the keto wraps and the keto cookies and the sugar-free jello with whipped cream, which was keto approved, were so processed and over processed and ultra processed. And one of the things for me, we have our different reasons for exploring this, was the unbelievable um, benefits that people were having on carnivore with their mental health, depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, all cured. These people getting off 17 medications, some of them on every kind of antidepressant you can think, because brain fog clearing. So for me, besides the weight loss and plateauing after the 3 years of keto and going off the keto, but also doing the ultra processed snacks and chips and, all those things, I wanted to find a way to help get rid of the little bit of, hormonal imbalance, brain fog, and also for me, the little bit of anxiety, which I was experiencing. And for the first 7 weeks on it, I couldn't, my brain, like, it was a miracle. And then unfortunately, I relapsed. I went back to eating the processed and the gobs of almond butter, which is, I say keto approved like this, but we're allowed to have dark chocolate, but not in the amounts I was having, and the nuts and the seed oils and all of those things. So, we were kind of on different journeys, but you haven't deviated except minutely, which is I commend you so much. It's very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very strict, but it's so rewarding. And you can go ahead, Mom, and
Sure.
talk about why you adapted this way of living.
So I'm probably one of the few people in the world that took on this diet, or I hate the word diet because, as Richard Simmons said, it's die with a T at the end.
Yeah.
I rather think about it as a nourishment or a food plan or whatever, anything other than a diet. And I decided that after listening to these unbelievable testimonials and benefits from so many different people who had different things that had happened. Some people's eyes got better. Some people's cancer was done. Um, from all these people who were literally curing and healing themselves from cancer, from diabetes, from obesity. I mean, people lost 500 pounds, and a lot of people did it for that reason. But I just did it because we both decided we were going to do it for 90 days and give it a try. Because in 90 days, your cells change and your body changes, and that gives you a good amount of time to truly test it for yourself. I have not taken a blood test yet, but I've just my doctor just put one in, and I will be taking one next week, and I can't wait to see what the results are, because I have had extreme high cholesterol since I was 30 years old, and the doctor of the time was telling me to do statin drugs. And I remember my father, who was a doctor, saying, don't do statins and just eat eggs. And I thought that was crazy. But I also thought the whole thing was so extreme and restricted. I said, all right, I'll give it a shot for 90 days. Well, in the 90 days, it's actually 126 days today that I've made it through, and I've been very, I have been extremely on the program and dedicated to it. And I am generally a pretty disciplined person. So I can't say it was easy, but at the beginning, I started with keto because I thought this is just really a stringent program, and I'm not sure I can just do meat and eggs and water, which is kind of the basic carnivore plan. But as I was doing the keto and adding a salad here and there, or something that was okay for the keto but not carnivore, just in my body, it felt like I needed to just try this clean. So I've done it for 127 days. I did have a weekend where I splurged, if you will, not really a big splurge, but it was Tracy's birthday, and the same day that Tracy had her birthday in September, our beautiful bird Indy died after being with us for 25 years. And I lived with him all those 25 years, and he just was an amazing bird. And so we were kind of, it was a blessing that it was her birthday, but it was not, our beloved bird died. So for 4 days, I was having a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and a lot of this and a lot of that. But after that, I just said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it. And I have found that my blood pressure, which has been extremely low my whole life, the average is 85/58, has completely normalized to literally 120/80 or 115/75 or something like that. And I've never had that. That's the first thing. The second thing is, you can see I have a bunch of hair, and my hair has become very wavy and very thick. And this is one of the beauties of eating meat and eggs. My skin has improved dramatically. I feel I've always been an energizer bunny, but I am more energetic than ever, and I sleep like a baby. Now, I've never had really poor sleep, as some people do, but my sleep has always, been erratic in a way. I'd wake up a lot, but I'm like this last night, I slept 9.5 hours. So I'm extremely happy with how I feel. The two big things for me, and this is throughout all the information I've heard and I've read, is that I am never hungry. And the reason people get hungry is from carbs. So that's the first thing, and I'll talk a little bit about eliminating, and you can help me there as well, Trace.
Yeah, I think when I originally started listening to it, it seemed so extreme because they were saying basically to eat meat, eggs, butter, and salt, and some seafood. And then when I listened more, they said make it an elimination. People that I were listening to, I mean, had such serious things from cancer to severe heart disease, every autoimmune thing you can think of, high blood pressure, massive mental things, huge amounts of obesity. I mean, hundreds of pounds people have lost. And this has been around a lot longer than we knew about. We just are discovering it. So one of the things I was doing initially, even in the first 7 weeks, was I was putting sugar-free ketchup and barbecue sauce and those type of things. That's a no-no. It's ultra super processed. It's poison. I was having at some point some keto cereal, and I've been listening now to what any cereal has in it, and it's literally poison. In a lot of countries, it's against the law to sell, things like Fruit Loops, and so I started researching more, and like my mom, I mean, I've been on the journey, and I would have something so wonderful like a steak and some eggs, and then I would smother it in sugar-free barbecue sauce, which negates the whole thing. So even though I was feeling a lot better mentally when I was doing it very strictly, as I started spiraling after the 7 weeks into the sauce zone, and then here and there, and then the crunchy almond butter with chocolate, dark chocolate, 86%, but it's still not carnivore. So I went, when we lost Indy around the time of my birthday, that was just he got sick, and we had to, this little birdie to the vet, and this just all these things, put him on medication, and it was very difficult for us. He's a family member, and I know people with pets and even without understand that. So we had lost a bird 3 months prior. That was his mate. And we have a new little birdie that we have with us. But going through the grief of losing his mate Mango and then him in 3 months, I think kind of spiraled my mom and I wanted to go on carnivore so that I could deal with the grief of losing Mango and stabilize my moods and my emotions. Now, being in recovery as I have in my own recovery of my 5 substance abuses, the latest being the gambling, which in November coming up in less than a month is 3 years. I know what dopamine and serotonin is. I know when my moods are off. I know that I can't go to a casino. I won't go to a casino or get a bunch of drinks or smoke cigarettes or, eat a bunch of chocolate cake, those things. So I have to be very, or do drugs, God forbid. I mean, that's been 10 years, but I have to be very careful with my situation and food and bulimia. I was bulimic for many, many, many years. I grew up with food issues my whole life since I was a small child. So now finding the carnivore, going back on it, which I have 9 days ago, and really going on it where I'm just having meat and seafood. I'm not using sauces. I'm barely using spices. And for dinner,
And eggs. And eggs.
and eggs, I'm sorry, and
Yeah.
eggs. For dinner or my meal, I have one meal a day. I had today meatballs with bacon in them and scallops and a bunch of water, green tea. We have some coffee with very little now, little things in it. And I know in 9 days already, I'm feeling better. I'm feeling emotionally better. And people have said to me that have seen me that I look like I'm losing weight. I haven't weighed myself because I went on the thing when I fell off the wagon. I get hard on myself, but I've made a commitment to myself to do 90 days clean. And, so that I can feel these benefits that I'm feeling. And my health feels great. I mean, I have no inflammation. That's the one thing about this. And I think you agree that this is an elimination of inflammation.
Yes. Not only is it an elimination, and actually that's what they like to call it, because when people hear carnivore, it's really scary. I was really scared, and I was, not reticent. I was resistant to start it. But when you say, eliminate carbs, sugar, seed oils, and processed or ultra processed foods, those are the things that cause all of those diseases, from neurological to and of course all diseases are metabolic. So the diabetes and obesity and cancer, all of those are metabolic diseases. So for me, that was a big incentive at almost at 78 years old to really try it and see what they're talking about. And in addition to the not being hungry, because I had done it so consistently, I also lost 8 pounds so far. And I hardly ever crave anything. I mean, once in a while I'll have a craving, but because I've completely eliminated sugar and carbs, so I haven't eaten any fruit, vegetables, um, uh, cakes and rice and pasta and any of that stuff. I don't have cravings and I'm not hungry. Um, you know, this program, if you will, is ancestral. What the basic premise of it is that for hundreds of thousands, if not more years, human beings who were some animals are herbivore and some animals are carnivore. And human beings have always been carnivore. So even if you were in the Inuit tribe in Alaska, you would be eating whale meat all the time. And by the way, the Inuits are all live to a very long, good old age and physically and cognitively sharp, as do the Maasai in Africa, in East Africa. Same thing, they eat meat. And one of the things I would like to say is that we have been told that red meat needs to be eaten very scarcely because it causes heart disease And if you do eat it from time to time, it needs to be very lean. This is how we've been conditioned. This is how I was. I used to just eat salads and vegetables and juice, you know, green juice a lot of the times. But this is a fallacy, and the research has shown it, and it's very much covered as well. And red meat has so many nutrients, and there's a lot of fallacies about it. For example, people are saying and asking me, and I'm going to just say it, how is my poop? Because there's no fiber, and it's excellent. I can't complain. Apparently, human beings do not need fiber. Apparently, according to all these doctors, we really don't need plants. And in what I'm discovering, and I want to make it clear that I am not a person that promotes one size fits all. Not everything is right for everybody. But I think if you, have any of the things we've mentioned, and you have curiosity, it's worth maybe doing 30 days and seeing how it works for you if you have any issues. If you have gut issues, it's unbelievably wonderful for the gut. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it is. It's wonderful for the gut. It's incredible for the heart. There's several heart surgeons that I've heard who all are carnivore, and these doctors have been carnivore anywhere between 5 years and 20 years.
Excuse me one sec, Mom, because I don't want to forget that
Yes,
it's also incredible for our eyes. And there's a
yes,
carnivore video of a gentleman that has literally gotten his sight back from
yes.
carnivore.
Yes. I mean, there's so many things that we've heard about, and I've heard other people say it's improved their eyesight. I believe it has improved mine, not to a great degree, but I do feel that it has. And I have a condition in my right eye where the optic nerve was damaged 7.5 years ago. And instead of it being like one big blur, it's become, I can really see the peripheral is starting to become quite clear, and the big blur has become a smaller blur. So I have to believe that this is from the meat, because I haven't done anything else new. The other big fallacy and lie is about cholesterol. And as I mentioned, I have had extremely high cholesterol, LDL, and the combo of the HDL and LDL. And in fact, when I was first measured, they said they couldn't even tell me what it was because it was off the machine that they were measuring it with. So it was way over 300, my total. And over the years, it's never really dropped. However, coming from a father who didn't believe in the whole cholesterol thing, which he was so ahead of his time, we know now that statins actually are very dangerous, and our brains are 60% fat, and a big bunch of that is cholesterol, and cholesterol has so many functions in our body to do that if you lower the cholesterol, you literally are starting to deteriorate your brain. So that is one of the other reasons that I did this, because I'm very interested in everything to do with the brain, and I was curious to kind of figure out that equation, because when you realize your brain is 60% fat and cholesterol, you need to feed it. So
Yeah, and there's a one of the videos that we watched. There's a gentleman that has opened 4 assisted livings, and he's made them keto, but keto restrictive, not without the processed because, and he's had a situation, the families won't let them go completely carnivore, but want to try the keto, and the ketogenic, and he's had people actually, which is unheard of, and I work at 5 assisted livings and memory cares, or 4 now, that they have gone home. There are people that leave there that have gotten so well from their food, because our food is our everything. And I've, with the struggles I've had with food, even the first 7 weeks, I could tell such a huge difference. And I can tell, which is 42 days, my mom stayed on it religiously. But for me, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. I've gone on it, then gone off. But now I've made a commitment to do the very clean version of carnivore for minimum 90 days, so that I can really, experience the benefits that I did the first 42 days. And I plan on doing that. And, like Lana Gelb said, the 90 days, you can do it for 30 or 45. It's a good gauge for me when I was in some of my 12-step meetings, which I don't go to anymore, but they would always say, give it 90 days. And that was one thing I did at the beginning, right when I went in there, I gave it 90 days, even though I relapsed multiple times. But I know there's a secret sauce. And I know for me, I like Lana Gelb said, I'm not going to ever tell people how to heal or treat themselves. I'm just going to find something that works wonderfully for me and for Lana, and that way we can share it with people. And if it's something, we've had a couple friends of ours that have tried it and are doing fantastically, and it just makes us so happy because it is working for us. And as long as she keeps going like she is, because the only thing I want, as she is my mom, is for her to live healthily, brain-wise, physically, mentally, emotionally, as many years as possible, just like they do in the blue zones. Even though it's a different modality of wellness, this is still a particular way that is so unbelievable. If you get the chance to look it up, or we would be so happy to send you some of our favorite videos. And there's hundreds and hundreds of videos. There's one gentleman that we listen to in particular called, his name is Kerry, but he's called Homestead How. And he's the one that went off the 17 medications. And he's doing a documentary called The Proper Human Diet. And I think it's called Something for Humanity. I should have looked it up before. But he's interviewing hundreds of people, and bringing doctors with him, all kinds of different doctors. And there's many mental psychiatrists, psychologists. So it's definitely, I believe it's revolutionary. And I think that it's something, it is like today when I was having my meatball and bacon and scallops, absolutely delicious. But I was having tiny cravings, but that will pass. It when I get to my 21st day, I know, that's kind of the clicking point. So any other last things you'd like to say?
I just would like to say that I'm not 100% carnivore. So, I mean, I have to be transparent here. And that is, I have coffee, 2 cups a day. And I believe in coffee because I know the benefits for the brain. But I'd just like to address plants for a moment, because I've listened to so many, many, many people who are plant experts in this particular field. And it's something for people to realize that if you're having any gut problems, let's say, or acid reflux, or you're having any problems that are related to plants, we know that there are various kinds of plants that are really toxic to human beings, many. And these people are very knowledgeable about it, and certainly things like oxalates, or what are some of the others, Trace? The ones with the tomatoes and
Oh, the nightshades,
the
the
nightshades.
eggplant and the tomatoes and the peppers. And
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And then also the lectins. All of those are highly inflammatory. So if you're having inflammation and you're having gut issues, this might be something that you really might consider, or acid reflux or anything like that that's untoward. So that's my last word.
Well, I just thank you so much. I'm excited to be on this journey together. And we're going to be starting a YouTube channel in a short while, and we'll let everybody keep them posted. Lana's going to be doing more than I at the time because I do want to get my 90 days under my belt to feel very authentic and be able to really, I mean, I had such good feelings the first 6 weeks, so I know what it feels like. For it was 6, 7 weeks. But I just want to thank you, and I've just really enjoyed this, and I wish you everybody a wonderful evening.
Thank you, everyone.